Hello, Venerable Sumati, we don't hear you.
There we go. Helps to turn on your microphone. Okay, today's class is going to be a little interesting. My computer gave me some problems, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. And the other thing is, we're not going to have the review class next week because some students are at Diamond Mountain and won't be able to participate. So we'll have the review class will be on the next Tuesday, which I think is the 23rd. Yeah, no. 22nd. So we'll have the review class on the 22nd. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. Make the mandala, please. Here's the great earth filled with the smell of incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, the four continents wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayame. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, I will reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. Okay. So, rejoicing. Well, we're down to very few students. I guess I'm boring everybody. Okay, let's start with Svetlana. What do you have to rejoice about today?
Hello, Venerable Sumati. I would like to rejoice that today is birthday of my sister, and I congratulated her and sent her best wishes and some present, and she was very pleased about it.
How old's your sister?
41.
Oh, do you have brothers?
No, just sister by my father, so it's like sister by father, how to call it in English.
Stepsister?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I'm glad she's happy and I hope she has a happy birthday. Okay, Anna, what do you have to rejoice in?
Hello, Venerable Sumati and all our friendly group. About my rejoicing, I rejoice of my relations with my mom, which I have now. Previously, I had complicated relations with my mom, and I put many efforts to make these relations warmer, more trustful, more joyful. And now I see some results of my efforts. So I'm very glad about this.
Very good. That's always, yeah, it's nice to be able to solve a problem and get back into talking to each other and caring for each other. That's wonderful. Okay. Daria, what do you have to rejoice in?
Good morning, Venerable Sumati. I rejoice. I don't miss the class because yesterday in the evening I sit in my home and I mix up the dates. I say, oh my God, I missed the class with Venerable Sumati. No, but I say, oh, it's Wednesday. The class next is Thursday. Oh my God.
I've
I'm
been there and
rejoiced.
done that myself. Well, good to have you here. Evgeny, what do you have to rejoice in today?
Сегодня хочу порадоваться тому, что я успел на это занятие. И
I would
сегодня
like to rejoice that I came to this class on time and I am recording this class. I missed many classes in this course, so I am glad that I in the 10th class of this course, it might be the most important class of this course.
Well, we're about to find out. As I said earlier, I have 3 external screens in my laptop, and I'm using every one of them for this class. So it's going to be fun. What do I have to rejoice in? I rejoice, and we're almost done with course 4. I have 2 students with us. They're staying with us for a couple of days before the Diamond Mountain event. And one of them is a German student I have not met before, so it's wonderful to see them. We're going to go out to a fantastic restaurant for lunch, some very unusual Central American food that's just exquisite. This restaurant is one of the top restaurants in the country, one of the top 100 restaurants in the country. And it's very down to earth, inexpensive, but extraordinary food. Just extraordinary food. I rejoice that I figured out a very complicated issue on my spreadsheet for the book of lists. I figured it out. I'm happy I still have the mind to be able to do things like that. So, okay. Well, let's go with screen share. Let's see if this is going to blow up in my face. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. You should be seeing proof 10. Yes? Okay. So, today's class is going to be about ignorant desire and samsaric rebirth, how we get rebirth, how we get reborn, what the process is from a karmic standpoint. So consider the mind of an ordinary person at the moment of death. It will cross the line into the latter state of mind because it is the state of mind where attachment is present. Now this is pretty obscure. So let's try and figure out what Dharmakirti is trying to tell us. The essence of his argument is that if the mind has ignorant desire at the moment of death, then it will flop over to another moment of mind in a new rebirth. Therefore, one can say the first moment of consciousness of this life came from the last moment of consciousness of the immediately preceding life. Or you could say the material cause of the first moment of consciousness in this life is the final moment of mind in the previous life. To understand what we're talking about, we need to understand, in particular, links 8 and 9 of the Wheel of Life, because they trigger the projecting karma causing another rebirth. If you could avoid ignorant desire at the moment of death, then it seems we could avoid taking samsaric rebirth. So, I believe we sent you a copy of the Wheel of Life. The Wheel of Life is a book that So if you have that, take it out. If not, I'm going to send all these slides to you. So the Wheel of Life, we're going to be talking about specific links. The Wheel of Life is also the 12 links of dependent origination. So we're going to be talking about link 1, which is there, link 2, which is there, link 8, which is there, link 9 there, link 10, link 11, and link 12. So the first link represents a blind, if you enlarge it, a blind person. It was a widow in the ancient version. This one has a man with a cane representing a blind person. Here, the blind person represents ignorance, the root of all pain. Ignorance to do anything to prevent, avert, postpone, stop what you don't like. And the ignorance to do anything to get what you want. Let me see if I can move this. Move it to a different screen. Hang on. That's not working. We'll leave it there. Okay, so that's ignorance. The second link is unripened karma. This is a potter making a pot on a wheel. Potter is making new karma. So the second link, there's ignorance, and through your ignorance is you making new karmas. It's the karma you create and collect during your lifetime because of ignorance. The eighth link is craving. Craving is the ignorant desire not to be separated from a pleasurable object. It is represented by a man who is feasting. It's an ignorant desire that is infused with the belief of the self-existence of an object. Craving is based on the seventh link, feeling and sensation, represented by the man with an arrow in his eye. The first 7 links of the Wheel of Life represent milestones in one's life and the development of the body and senses following birth. Most human activity and behavior is motivated by the wish not to be separated from objects of pleasure. So there are 3 types of craving. There's desire craving, fear craving, and existence craving. So what do we mean? Desire craving is the craving that desires not to lose or be separated from an attractive object. Fear craving. This is the craving that wishes to avoid or be separated from an unpleasant object. Existence craving. This is a craving for the parts of your being, for the continued existence of me at the time of death, out of ignorant and intense fear that you're going to come to an end. All 3 types of craving are within the 8th link. Now, this is pretty confusing because we haven't discussed the Wheel of Life. that's another course, weekend course, that I'd love to teach you all. So maybe, Svetlana, we can figure out a way to do that. I think that it's a very interesting course, and it's an important course because we talk about the wheel of life a lot in Buddhism. So the ninth link is grasping. Grasping is the craving described in the eighth link intensified to a high level. During the death process, one grasps to a self-existent me and ignorantly wishes for the self-existent I to be happy and not to come to an end. One needs to spend a lot of time studying and meditating on selflessness and other topics so at the final moment of death, this wisdom stays firm in one's mind. Now, I believe I've described what happened to me when I rolled my truck at Diamond Mountain. Because of my study of the death meditation, I can honestly say that as the truck was rolling and I thought I might die, my thoughts were not on, oh, I don't want to die. My thought was, well, I'm about to see what happens next. Now, that's not the best thing to have on my mind because it kind of implies I still want to be around. But it's much better than thinking, oh, I didn't tell my wife I loved her. Oh, I left a mess, etc. So it's very important to have a death meditation and understand what you need to be thinking of at the moment of death. It sounds easy, and I'm pleased that when that happened, I didn't worry. But that's because of the death meditation and understanding how absolutely important that particular practice is. I can't emphasize enough how important that was to me and how it made the difference in my life, a significant difference in my life. Okay, the 10th link is projecting karma. Let's see, the projecting karma. I've got to get to number 10. Okay, link number 10 is supposed to, should be a pregnant woman. This one is not correct. So projecting karma is the one that most prevalent in your mind at the time, and in your habit in life. And that's the one that's going to go off, most likely surface in your mind as you're in the process of dying. So you want to study the Dharma well enough, study the death meditation process well enough to know that you don't want a projecting karma that's going to cause you pain and sorrow in the next life. But that usually the projecting karma is the one that's most prevalent, your habit in life. Okay, so the 11th is rebirth. The karma collected during your life, link 2 through 10, is made potent by craving and grasping and becomes projecting karma and causes another rebirth. As a result of rebirth, you age and then eventually die, and the cycle continues. And that's link 12. So what is the relationship between the 8th and 9th links and ignorance? Suppose because he's free of perishable view, he would stop rebirth at the beginning of the path, because the innate one's not yet eliminated. If it were, how could there ever be another rebirth? That's pretty obscure for me. So let's go ahead and see what Dharmakirti has to say about that. If one abandoned the view of perishable recollection, which is the ignorant view that grasps at me and mine as having a self-nature at the path of seeing, then an Arya would stop rebirth at the first moment of the path of seeing. But an Arya doesn't overcome the innate tendency to see things as self-existent, and so at this level does not stop rebirth. But if one were to stop seeing oneself as self-existent, then how could one ever take another rebirth? When one eliminates this innate tendency to hold to me, that is not just a label applied to the various parts of me, then one necessarily ceases taking rebirth because one has eliminated the cause of rebirth. The cause of rebirth is simply thinking yourself existent. If you can get over that, if you can not worry at the time of death about your disappearing because you're self-existent, then you don't go through rebirth. It's just that simple. But it's not that simple, and it's not easy for us to do. It sounds easy, and I'm very pleased that I was able to understand the death meditation practice well enough that when I rolled my truck, I wasn't frightened. I didn't have anything on my mind that would cause a bad rebirth. So let's go through the things the ways to perceive ourselves. There's perceiving yourself in a general way. It's not wrong to think of yourself as being I. The mere I, the simple awareness of oneself. This does not trigger samsaric rebirth at death. I am Sumati. That's not wrong. It's that I'm not self-existent that is wrong. Even the Buddha sees himself as an I. He thinks of his robes and begging bowl. The Buddha still thinks of himself as me and my teachings. So that's important. There's nothing wrong with perceiving yourself in a general way. Okay, the next way to perceive oneself. Seeing yourself as self-existent. Both believing and seeing oneself to be self-existent. An ordinary person who has not seen emptiness directly both believes and sees him or herself to be self-existent. That's not the kind of perception of ourselves that we want, but it's a hard one to fight because there's an innate tendency, as much as we study not being self-existent, there's an innate tendency that we believe ourselves to be self-existent. So the next way of perceiving self seeing yourself as self-existent, but not believing what you see. This is the view of an Arya, who is someone who has not become an Arhat. He or she still sees him or herself and every other living being as self-existent, because he or she has not yet eliminated the innate tendency to see things as self-existent. But he or she does not believe himself or herself to be self-existent because they've seen emptiness too readily and have so permanently overcome belief in self-existence. So what does this mean? You don't believe things are self-existent, but you still see them as self-existent. Strictly speaking, this is a view of an Arya who, when not in the direct perception of emptiness, because during the direct perception of emptiness, you cannot see oneself as self-existent. Number 4, either seeing yourself as self-existent nor believing you are. This is the fully enlightened being. Such a being no longer believes in self-existence, nor does he see things as self-existent either. So this is an interesting definition. You don't believe in self-existence, but you still see things as self-existent until you become an arhat or a fully enlightened being. The purpose about talking about all this is you do not have to get old and die. The purpose of Buddhism is to teach you in the higher teachings, the secret teachings, how not to get old and die and return life after life in the circle of samsara. So what's the bottom line? Let me stop sharing here. The bottom line here is that we need to understand how karma works, which is the next class, next course. We need to understand how karma works so we can work hard to not have the projecting and finishing karma that's going to make us take another rebirth. And that's having the things that cause the rebirth are craving, ignorant liking and disliking, all the mental afflictions we've talked about in the past. Those are the kind of things that at the moment of death, you cling to, and that causes your rebirth, because that's a projecting karma. So it's as simple as not having projecting karma, as having done the death meditation. It seems simple, but it takes a lot of effort. That's what our practice is all about. Our practice is all about trying to stop this innate belief in self-existent me through reacting ignorantly, having ignorant desire, ignorant liking and disliking, anger. So what are they? The top six. Ignorant liking, ignorant disliking, ignorance itself, pride, jealousy, and anger. Those are the top mental afflictions which generate the karma and generate the mindset when at the moment of death, because we're ignorant, we think, oh, I'm going to cease to exist. I don't want to give up. I don't want to die. And that kind of karma causes you to be reborn in samsara again and again and again. So we need to get in the habit of not thinking like that. And that's what Buddhism's all about. That's what I'm here to try and teach you and illustrate what we need to do. I'm not trying to convince you, because I can't. I don't have the ability to convince you. I have the ability to put it out there and teach you. And then you have to make the decision yourself, whether it makes sense. So, Svetlana, I think we need to make sure to set up a time to do the Wheel of Life. I had forgotten about that. I think next to the death meditation, that's probably one of my other favorite, well, Source of All My Goods, my favorite teaching. But so don't get overwhelmed by the Wheel of Life. We're going to discuss that when we teach that. Sometime in, well, ask the rest of the students. And it'd be a Friday, 3 classes on Saturday, and a class on Sunday. So we could do it in 5 classes probably. And I could give the translators all my teaching notes so you wouldn't have to struggle with my talking so fast. Okay, that's a pretty short class for today, but I think we've covered the important points. Okay, so the review class will be on the 22nd, 12, 13, 14, yeah, 22nd. And we'll go over the final. Not many people are taking this for credit, but we'll go over the review course, the review questions, because those are the most important questions. And we can discuss more completely some of the topics that were probably very confusing to you. Well, that's a record short course, but I don't have anything more to add. I apologize for my computer problems, but I didn't get mad, so good for me. I just had to struggle with getting this talk together. Okay. So again, just to make clear, and when you forward these notes, Svetlana, I'll include in my email the fact that we're not going to have class until Monday the 22nd. Okay, let's dedicate. May the source of benefit and goodness, the Dharma, spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma taught by the Buddhas, always increase. The next course, course 5, is an interesting, very interesting course and much more easy to follow. So I encourage everybody to stick with it and show up for course 5. Okay. Good to see everybody. And we'll see you in, 10, 12 days. Okay. And I hope my computer will be fixed so I don't have these problems anymore. Okay. Have a good couple of, 10 days? 10 days. And we'll see you on the 22nd. I love all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venerable Sumati. Please teach us the Wheel of Life.
I will do so. Let's go ahead and find out what's a good weekend. The weekend of the 3rd of May is not good for me. I'll be traveling.
Okay.
But